Hello, and welcome back to the WILL podcast. And I am so delighted to be joined today by Kyla Denanyoh, who is a podcast coach and a founder of KD Creative. She uses a decade of project management experience. She helps small business owners expand their brand visibility via podcasting. Kyla lives in Ohio with her husband and toddler. And when she isn't podcasting, she's actually trying out new cookbooks and making and filming YouTube videos. And are those YouTube videos of cooking, or are they of like other things? No, they're not cooking videos, because I'm a little addicted to those and a little addicted to reels.
I'm addicted to them too.
Yeah.
No, my book reviews, my videos are about book reviews. I love to read. I typically read about 2 to 3 books every week. Everything from nonfiction to these cookbooks. I just read a fiction cookbook mashup, which was really cool. She even included the recipes. So that was pretty awesome.
Okay.
But no, I love words. Before we started recording, you were talking about my typewriters here over my shoulder.
Yeah.
I love to be surrounded by words. I love written word. I love spoken word, which is podcasting. I love editing papers. I love words.
Are you a poet also? Do you like to go hear poetry?
I do like to hear poetry. And I mean, I might write some poetry to my husband, but nothing I would want other people to see.
Got it. Good. Nice and private. All right. And the one thing Kyla doesn't have in her little bio is that she's also the host of the You Are a Lawyer podcast.
I am.
Which has over 130 episodes in the bank and out in the world at the time of that we're recording this.
Yes.
So that's something I want to hear more about. So
yes,
this podcast is, this conversation, whether you're watching on video inside, if you're a member of WILL or out in the world, this is for women lawyers who want to either love or leave the law, right? But they're at a pivotal moment where they really want to figure this out and they want some help with that. So tell us a little bit about your legal journey.
Yeah. Okay. So I love the title of your podcast. I am a woman who loved and left the law.
Right. It doesn't have to be either or. That's right.
So I did both. So if you're watching, I'm wearing a sweatshirt that says lawyers are creative, because when I was going through school and when I started my legal career, I thought it was one or the other. I was a lawyer or I was creative. I was fun or I was a lawyer, right? And so I never wanted to work in big law. I ended up working in big law, and I did the whole $1,000 suits, got to have the perfect hairstyle, all of the stuff. And I really enjoyed it. I think I really enjoyed it because I didn't know what to expect. All I had seen before then was TV. Like I didn't know any lawyers other than an insurance defense lawyer, and he had his own firm. So I had really no experience with big law and all the stuff. So I was like, this is just like Suits. This is what I was expecting. Oh. And so I was working in intellectual property, had no interest in doing this, and not in my job. I had no interest when I was in law school in doing IP corporate law, because I thought I was going to do environmental law, work for the Army Corps of Engineers, like real fun woo-woo stuff. So I'm working in this big law office, and I was loving it. My partners were loving me. They kept giving me all this work. They're like, we tell you to do it by Thursday, you do it by Tuesday. It's great. And I met a lawyer who was an accountant. And I was like, okay, so you're an accountant, but why do you have a legal diploma? She's like, oh, well, I just really didn't want to practice. And then I met an analyst who was like running numbers and trying to see who was a merchant and what was happening. And he was like, oh, instead of studying for the bar exam, I started writing a comic book. All of these cool lawyers who aren't practicing.
Yeah.
And that was like the little bug in my ear that was like, you can still be a lawyer and do anything. And I was like, oh, I got to start talking to people about it. So in true lawyer form, I was like, I can't launch the podcast until I have at least 7 episodes. I read something that said most people quit at their 7th episode. They run out of interest, they run out of guests, they run out of whatever. So I was like, I got to hit 7 before I even launch. So I started looking up people, and I found people all over the place.
Yes, all over the place. I have
more people. All over the place.
Yes.
Hard, though, because most of the creative lawyers don't really put the lawyer part in their bio. You have to like go down to the very bottom of their LinkedIn. Like Wendell Holmes, he's a building constructor on HGTV with a TV show, and he is a University of Pennsylvania law graduate.
Wow.
And I send him a pitch
Oh my God, that is so good, because that is so good. Yeah. So what then happened so you started the podcast, right? You got more than 7 episodes, and then that's a great tip for me starting out. So thank you. And how did you transition then out of practicing, or like, tell us about your legal work and then moving more into your creative life?
So I started the podcast February 2020. I started recording. It launched April 2020. And what I didn't know or anticipate was that everything was going to shut down. We were going to be working from home during the middle of it.
Yeah.
So I already had some momentum going, so I kept with it. So on top of recording to get prepared, my daughter was born in June 2020.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, I'm 6 months pregnant. Why not start a podcast?
Because I'm at home, and I mean, you're clearly a very efficient person. So keep going. No, seriously.
I am. I'm very efficient. Yeah. I write down what I want to do for the day, and then I wake up the next day and I do it. And it's that simple for me. So I'd already started the podcast. I had all my recordings. I was like, I don't know how strenuous, having a child is going to be, these newborn days. So I'm recording. I fall in love with it. Then I go back to work September, October. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm back. I had this whole department that I was running. We were sending out these cease and desist letters and looking up all this stuff. What do you guys want me to do? And they were like, Kyla, your team is phenomenal. We had no issues while you were out. And I was like, this is what I like here. I love to work myself out of a job. Like, I like to write down my processes and let everybody know. And they were like, go back and do the same thing. But I just did that and was gone for 14 weeks and there was no problem. There's no job to do. And they were like, just go back and manage it. But I've managed it once.
And you're not the kind of person who's going to be happy with that, right? So,
and I'm like, you guys, it's working, it's functioning. What else can I do? And I was like, okay, well, now I can come back. Even if I came back and was a tier lower and I was the person working, at least that would be new. I was like, I don't need to manage it. It manages itself. I just showed you literally.
Wow.
So I did that until March of 2021. And I was like, I can't just sit here. I mean, I really respected my lawyers. I love to be around them, but I was like, you guys, I'm not implementing any work. I am still contributing, but I was like, there's not really a role for me here. I think I'm going to go on and leave. So.
And meanwhile, you were running the podcast on the side the whole time too. Okay. So, and was there like a pivotal moment? I think for many of the women I work with, there's like a straw that broke the camel's back moment, or like this, like a moment where they're like, I just need to make this change. Was there something like that for you?
I think there was. And I say I think there was because there probably were a couple.
Yeah.
But the one that really sparked things for me, when I started the podcast, it was a bi-weekly podcast. So every other week there'd be an episode.
Yeah.
And I'm recording with someone into my second season, and I was still working at the firm. And they're like, hey, what are you going to do for sponsors and money? And I was like, oh, I'll start looking into it. I have a job. I'm not crazy about it. Oh, no, I meant like, can I be a sponsor? Can I pay you?
Wow.
And it was really that simple. And I was like, of course you can. I didn't know anything. So I spend the next 2 days putting together this 14-page thing. These are all my downloads. This is my engagement on social media. This. And then they asked the most important question ever. This is out of my budget. My budget is this. Are you still interested? And that was when I realized, my first question should always be, what is your budget for this?
Yeah.
Right? Because here I am trying to completely replace my salary. Sponsor. And they're like, what they offered me was great. I mean, it was mind blowing, but I definitely didn't have to do all that work. Plus I realized, and the guy actually told me, he was like, I trust you. I believe, he was like, I didn't need the whole thing. Thank you for the 14 pages. But he was like, I've already offered to pay you. Take my money.
Take my money. So interesting. So you learned how to not make it so difficult for yourself to
not make it
get sponsors, work with them on their budget.
Work with their budget, but also I had no understanding of how to do this, right? Like, lawyers are hourly, we're paid hourly, you turn in your billable hours, but also like, I'm used to always negotiating. I was like, okay, I'm going to give him this and then we're going to go back and forth. And so I wasn't familiar with, I'm ready to pay you. This is what I have. It was a light bulb moment to me. I was like, wow. So I would say that is the moment where I was like, oh, if I can make money for this, do I still need to work 65 hours a week?
Yeah. So then you left your job. You said it was March 2021, right? And so that's now at the time of recording this, that's 3 years ago. So how are you making money like through the podcast and through helping people? Yeah. Cause everyone wants to know that. Like, can you really make money not lawyering?
You can make money not lawyering. And if you don't remember anything else from this podcast, listen to this. There is so much money in the world. There is so much money in the world. I mean, it really is a matter of how much money do you want? It truly is. It's really that simple. And people are, no, I'm used to working so hard for money. great. Well, that's what we're accustomed to, but there is so much money in the world. Like I'm in half of my basement in my house, and this whole part is just set up for this recording. And I'm like, at first, I was like, isn't this kind of like rude? Like an embarrassment of riches? And my husband's like, well, what else are you going to do with it? It's cold half of the year. You're not going to be down there.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're a creator. You're going to need this set up every week. And I'm like, so even that I had to level up and be like, this is my life now. Wow. I can have things that don't look like your typical office, your typical cubicle, right?
Yeah.
Life is for whatever you want to create it to be. So, okay. So I'm making money with sponsors. I still do sponsors for the podcast. I do a lot of ads on social media. So let's say you wanted to pay me to wear a WILL shirt, and I could wear that shirt and be like, oh, you ended up getting 45 sales from it.
Wow. Okay.
I get paid for things like that. Also, for my book reviews on YouTube, I have authors who will contact me and say, hey, I wrote a book, especially small authors.
Yeah.
Would you mind doing a review about it? Of course, I don't mind. I love reading books. And so, so I get paid from YouTube. I get paid for like sponsorship and affiliates. I get paid for ads on the actual podcast. Last season, my sponsor was myself, KD Creative. I'm launching podcasts for people, and people would actually contact me and say, hey, I would love to start a podcast, or I know someone. The season before then, I did my shirts, my own merch. Hey, if you know someone graduating from law school or whatever, want to get them a lawyer shirt. So all of these things actually work. The way that I realized I could make money doing anything was, it's so funny.
Ahead. I'm on my seat here. I'm like, yes, go ahead. Like, I'm like, how?
Well, because coming from big law, we had corporate clients, and our whole thing was, as for an example, oh, you bought these Pampers diapers online, they hurt your kid. Yeah. You can't sue Pampers because it was a counterfeit thing. This whole thing broke in warranty. So my mind is like, I gotta get Coca-Cola to sponsor my show. I could have someone, if you have 5 people pay you $1,000 every week, you still have $5,000.
Yeah, and that's good money. $5,000 a week. People paying you $5,000.
Yeah. And so that was when the shift changed, where I was like, oh, okay, I spend an hour and a half doing this, but I get this in return. And you have to like start thinking about things in the aggregate. And I was like, my mortgage is paid, but I'm not stressed. So it's like I had to switch from being a task-based earner to being a value-based earner. And that was a big shift for me, because they don't teach you that in law school. They don't teach you that in law firms.
That's amazing. Okay, let's just put a pin in that. Like a task-based earner to a value-based earner. I love it. I've got chills all up and down my legs, which is a sign that we're hitting on truth. Yeah. So so you made this change, and you kept, and so you've been doing podcasts. You've done over 130 conversations. Yes. You have gleaned some wisdom from all these lawyers who are doing all kinds of things, some practicing, some not. So if you could share any kind of top themes that you see from the lawyers you've spoken with about how to make a transition or how to shift into this, a different mindset out of that big law, just got to grind for my 6 minutes billables. Yeah.
So one of the things I started to notice the most was how many risks lawyers were taking, and they weren't even acknowledging it. We weren't, right? The fact that I knew one lawyer, worked for him for a month filing paperwork, and still decided to go to law school was a gigantic risk, right? And I mean, we see a lot of these things and we think they're commonplace, and they're not. I'm a first generation college graduate. So for me to go to law school, people were like, oh my goodness, Kyla's made it. But on the flip side, then when I left, people were like, but you were a lawyer. How could you ever want anything else? Right? So there was that part to it.
Yeah. So many of the women I work with, especially if they're first generation, or deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I was applying to law schools, I was waitlisted at a couple, got into a couple, and I went to visit them, because I was like, I started law school at 28. So I was fully grown. So I was like, yeah, let me go over here and see. Let me go over here and see. I go up to Cleveland, to Case Western. It's an okay school. I liked what I was learning, but the city, not too much. I go to Florida. And so I ended up going to law school in Louisiana. I don't know anybody in Louisiana. That was a risk, right? I had been taking risks every single step and had no idea. But then I get to law school and I'm learning how to mitigate any risk. And I was like, I want to take more. So I'm talking to these lawyers, took a risk to start a podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Telling me about their risk. And I'm like, that was a risk. And then you did this. And then that was a risk. And I'm like, lawyers are actually very risk taking. Like everyone says we're risk adverse, and it's actually not true.
I have full body chills again. This is such a flip on the narrative of lawyers, right?
But it's true.
Well, you have the data to prove it, right? So that actually going to law school is the risk, or taking or staying in that big law job can be the risk. Also,
staying in the job is a risk. Leaving because I want to do something else is a risk. Starting a podcast podcast when I don't know any podcasters is a risk. At least for me, I enjoy initiating and I
Yes.
enjoy I don't run from the hard conversations. I'm like, well, let's do it because you
Yeah.
can do things in a gentle and sweet way, right? And so I was used to that. Everyone's like, oh no, Kyla, it's because you're a tourist. You're just a bull. Well, no, I'm taking a risk to email you and say, hey, I just started working here. You want to have lunch? All of these little risks, if you really calculate them and look at them, you're like, I take risks. I'm risky.
Oh my God, that's so amazing. Okay, so that's such a juicy, that's my mind is blown because I hear from women lawyers so often, I'm risk averse, I'm risk and flipping that narrative is so powerful. And I love you saying like, I actually want to take more risk. Okay, good. That's one big one. What else have you seen across conversations?
So the other thing I would say, let's see, I think being a pioneer, which probably kind of goes hand in hand with taking risks, but a lot of lawyers that I talk to, whether they love the law, whether they wanted to leave the law, they're actually doing a lot of pioneering stuff. Oh, well, I saw these people doing this, so I wrote a book. Oh, what made you write a book? Well, I had to, but you didn't though. So many people talk themselves out of doing stuff. You did it, right? Well, I mean, I guess because we're comparing everything to being a lawyer. And it's like, no, you're still doing huge things. You're still doing really big things.
It's amazing. Yes.
I would say the pioneering aspect of it as well, because doing some, social media stuff about it. And I was like, we're talking about growth mindset. And the comment was, I think law school forces you to have a stagnant mindset. And I was like, I think that's true because we're learning the old law. We're finding out what's the precedent, what's the tradition, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
And then it makes you not want to grow and do other things once you're done.
Yes.
And so, once you switch that, once you have that swap and you're like, I actually do take risk, I actually am pioneering, the fact that even you think something and you decide to do it, a lot of people talk themselves out of that. Would I rather be on the couch laying around? Probably. But I know how much fun it is to podcast. I know how much fun it is to jump on here and record with you. Like, let me go do that. That's the fun part.
That's the fun part. And again, you're wearing the sweatshirt that says lawyers are creative. And I mean, I actually think everyone's creative, right? And we get that beaten out of us in elementary or middle school if we can't paint, right? Or like that we're not creative. But I think creativity is a divinely given, we're all creative. We were created, hence we're all creators.
Yeah.
So share any insights on sort of lawyers and creativity that you see.
Lawyers and creativity, besides myself.
Speak about yourself, whatever you'd like. Yeah.
So I would say lawyers are 100% creative. I want to show you something.
Okay, good.
Look at this.
Did you make that paint? You made that painting?
That's my self-portrait that I made in high school.
Ugh.
I have bright pink hair, a purple lipstick. I'm wearing a bright yellow shirt, and I kept it. And I'm painting it, and people are like, "That's what you think you look like?" I'm like, in my head, this is me.
Oh my God.
And this is still 10 years before I even go to law school.
Yeah.
And so I love that you said that everyone is creative because it doesn't have to be your entire career, your entire life as being art to still be a creative person.
Yeah.
Right? Like the pillows you have on the back there on your couch, they're laid out in a certain way. The patterns you have them, all of that is creative. Like, so maybe the theme is like, don't judge stuff because for a while I was always judging myself. Well, I'm not an artist, so I can't do that.
Yeah.
And then I have a kid and she wants to paint. And then we're painting ceramic dinosaurs all the time. And I'm like, this is fun. I think I'm going to do it when she's at school too. Because it doesn't have to be, oh, fine, now I'm an artist, I'm quitting everything.
Exactly. And I think
it
that's
can be both.
It's gonna be both. I actually just had a conversation with a woman who just enrolled in WILL, and she has this, she thinks she has to it has to be one or the other. Either working a 9-to-5 job or like the thing I really want to do, which is screenwriting.
Yeah.
And, is like, that's not available to me because I don't live in Los Angeles. So, and I said to her, one of the beautiful things we do in WILL is like, you get to be all of you. You get to, if you want a 9-to-5 job for security and stability and structure, great. We can do that with you. And let's explore your interests. Let's give you the space. And she started to see that it was both were possible.
Both are possible.
What would you say to a lawyer who's like, yeah, that's nice. The lawyers you're interviewing are creative. The lawyers, they're risk tolerant. I'm not. What would you say to that kind of?
Yeah, I would say to just take it as hour by hour.
Nice.
Because even just now, I was about to say most lawyers, typically, if you had to create an ideal lawyer, an ideal law student, it would be a type A, loves initiating, aggressive person.
Right.
That's not who all lawyers are, right? And so,
Totally.
but even if you grew up thinking that you were that way, people don't have to tell you that. I had on the lawyer persona. If I showed you a picture of me, you would laugh. Hair parted down the middle, straight, gray suit with a white shirt. You would be like,
Girls.
who is that?
Yeah,
You would honestly laugh at me. But I'm telling myself, this is who I am. I'm putting on my lawyer uniform. Look at me, right? Because when you walk in the room, you want someone to respect you, be like, oh, here comes Kyla. People respect me the same way. In fact, now they're more intimidated because they're like, she likes herself? Wait, who is this?
and she can make money wearing someone else's t-shirt? Wait a minute. I want to know more.
It's a whole different thing.
Yes, it's a whole different thing. Yes.
But no, we tell ourselves, this is who I am. This is who I am. We tell ourselves that. And so you're not going to undo all that conditioning with one conversation. You're going to have to say, I am Kyla today. Right now, I'm recording with Elena. I don't know what I'm going to feel at 2:00. At 2:00, I might be like, oh my God, I was just creative. Now I have to go do this, right? But you have to just take it hour by hour. Okay. So like, even for that screenwriter, okay, I don't live in LA. Let me look for an example of screenwriters who don't live in LA.
Yeah, exactly.
Or one example.
Right. Just one. Exactly. She even, today she even got the insight, like she got the vision actually, like I can take a class.
You can take a class.
I can take, and just start there, wherever your interests, take you. I love it.
It's post 2020. So there's a lot more stuff that's virtual.
Everything.
She could look into why the Screen Actor Guild just had their strike because of AI, all of this. But when you look at the ocean, oh my God, it's the ocean. But if you just take a cup of the ocean, right, just look at things for 1 hour, you're just like, what can I do right now?
I think this, you're really getting to the heart of something we definitely do in WILL, which is talk about the conditioning. Okay. And as women, as people of color, queer people, non-binary, like whatever, like just like our social conditioning, and primarily as female, right? Yeah. And what are some things that you've done or books you've read or things, what's helped you to shed some of that lawyer, take off that gray suit and let your pink hair fly, even if it's in your mind. Yeah.
Yes. So one of the things, and I don't have the books with me now, they're upstairs, but the We Should All Be Millionaires book.
Yeah. Rachel Rodgers.
Rachel Rodgers, absolutely mind-blowing for me. And I say this because I have this talk with a couple of my friends. I was one of the first of my friends to get married. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, oh my God, it's so hard. And even just dating is hard. And I'm like, okay, but like in the mornings, I get my daughter ready for school while my husband is down here doing breakfast and packing her lunch. As a mom, as a woman, for the first couple months, everything in me wants to say, what did he put in this bag? Did he give her a fruit and this and that? Yeah. I don't care if it's filled with tortilla chips. You can't. You have to let the stuff go. Yeah. You got to let it go. And I think that's what I'm getting to. You have to let the stuff go. And that starts with, you can't be everywhere, but also do you trust the people you're around? Well, let me trust that he packed some stuff that she's going to enjoy. And also let me trust that when they call me to say he filled it with popcorn, I'm not going to run out of work and go do it, right? You have to be like, I can only do this. And that's not selfish. You're allowed to take care of yourself and to do stuff that you want to do, right? Today is spring break. She is upstairs. I don't know what they're doing. I can't know right now. I'm recording with you.
Yeah, it's good. So let it go.
You have to let this stuff go. You can't. I mean, there's so much freedom in realizing you don't have to do everything, which is so anti-lawyer. I promise you, if old Kyla is even laughing at that sentence, like, what are you saying?
I know. I'm writing it down. I'm like, bookmark that one. There's like, that's a clip to cut, right? There's so much freedom.
There really is.
And it's hard for lawyers. Yeah. Because
who said that you're the only person that can pack the lunch? Who says you're the only person who can show up? Who said my law degree is not valuable if I'm not still in that office? I said it, which means I can change it.
Bingo. Because nobody out there is actually saying that. No one out there is actually, because nobody's thinking about you. And I mean that no one is thinking about you. Yeah. I said this to a client recently. I had gone to see Liz Gilbert talk. I was in a workshop with her and I asked a question sort of like about like other people, she was like, I mean this in the most loving way, but no one cares about you. No one is losing sleep over what you are doing. No one is. Yeah.
And I had to tell myself that multiple times until I started to be like, because it sounds kind of negative, but honestly, I got to the root of it, which wasn't no one's thinking about me. It's what do you think about this now? Yeah. Right? Because like I'll do something and I'm like, oh my God, that was fantastic. I can't wait. And I'm like, no, wait. Wow, Kyla, you just did a great job at that. And let that be that. Right? That's enough.
That is so beautiful. It's like, that is so profound. It's just, what do you, instead of no one's thinking about me, shifting it to this positive, what do I think about this?
What do I
That
think?
is, oh, I just got chills again.
Well,
Okay,
because
so
like, you
Rach,
know,
yeah, okay, go ahead. And
I
then I
was
want your,
working with,
yeah.
I had a client and I just got back from San Antonio because I actually coach podcasters who want to start shows. And she was like, hey, this conference wants me to do a live record. This is amazing. And she's like, do you want to go? Well, and I'm like, I am your podcast producer. It's a live show. Let's see. So we're talking and I was like, you know, I'm asking the questions. I put on my lawyer hat, which isn't true. I just really started to like get to the root of stuff.
Yeah,
when
sure.
to record, what day, what do I need to bring? What do you need me
Yeah.
to do? Well, she was so excited we didn't answer those questions. And so we went to San Antonio for 3 days. We never recorded. And, you know, I was like, okay, half of my suitcase was my camera equipment because I didn't want a bag. And so she was like, you know, I really appreciate the fact that you are not upset about this and you're not like, this was a waste of my time. And I'm like, you know, you're probably already saying that stuff to you. I don't have to say that stuff to you. Yeah. I'm in San Antonio. I've never been here before. You didn't have a contract. We've talked about it. You didn't have one. So I'm like, there's so much we can't do. The only thing I can do right now is enjoy being here, hanging out with you, and then going back home.
Right. And like, that's so great. And like, you could have busted out your recording equipment, right? And just like,
and force their hand
or just like, or the two of you could even do a debrief. I don't know. I'm like, what happened? Like, how come I didn't record in San Antonio? You know, there's always something to learn.
There's
from
always
every,
something.
and a
I
way
was just
to
like, you know,
kind of flip. I'm a big fan of like, oh, okay, that email went out without the link and it was a mistake. I'm like, you know, this is just an opportunity for me to send another email and say, hey, I'm human. There's actually people behind these emails. And like, I made a mistake and here you go. Like, it's just an opportunity to connect. So,
and there's strength in doing that. I love to get those emails. Oops. Forgot the link. Ha ha ha. Here you go. And it's just like, you know what? Next time I make a mistake, I think I'll make it be visible too, because you don't have to, like, I used to beat myself up for days. Oh my God, why did I send that email? I remember one day I had a report due and I turned it in at the big law firm. And I didn't hear anything like through the rest of the day. And I'm just like, did I misspell something? Did I send it to the wrong person? Read receipts were on. And I'm writing an email, hey, just to acknowledge my thing. And I was like, stop.
Just step away, keyboard.
This is your entire world right now. This is not theirs. You have to let this go. And I didn't send the email. And then like a couple days later, I heard something about it. But I was just like, all of this was in your head. This was not happening to anyone else. It's all you.
So bottom line, we create a lot with our own head, with our own minds.